welcome to another news hour on Germano Media and Products. We now begin with our headlines. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission recommends a revival of joking relationship to foster reconciliation. Female prison officers recommended for promotion after refusing sexual advances from David Colley government official. Lawyer of first respondent urges court to dismiss petition. State Intelligence Services Director General among officials recommended for 10 years ban from holding public. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission's TRRC has recommended for the revival of joking relationships among Gambians to foster national reconciliation and healing. In a 16-volume final report made public on Friday, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission said joking relationship was an icebreaker during the Commission's own hectic exercise and therefore should be revived. Joking relationships still play an important role in maintaining peaceful relationships and averting conflict. This emerged during the public hearings and in banters that went on between commissioners, staff, legal team, and witnesses and perpetrators. This mechanism is understood by Gambians and is an important tool that can be used in reconciliation activities, the TRRC said. The Commission recommends the National Center for Arts and Culture and the National Council for Civic Education to embark on reviving the culture of joking relationship to enhance indigenous knowledge of shared norms and values that are central to peacemaking and to averting conflict. The Truth, Reconciliation and the Reparations Commissions urge government to establish a Peace and Reconciliation Commission with a clear mandate to promote peace, reconciliation and healing, and foster social cohesion. The Commission said many Gambians don't understand reconciliation, with many thinking it is just means forgiveness. The concept of reconciliation is not understood by many Gambians. For many, reconciliation is synonymous with forgiveness. That perpetrators seek forgiveness after committing atrocities to victims. For those working to promote forgiveness and reconciliation, like the TRRC, is an important reminder that a person can choose to forgive but not to reconcile, the Commission said. The Commission further said on difficulty in getting witnesses to testify, ethnic, religious, family and gender consideration influence many witnesses not to participate in the Truth, Reconciliation and the Reparations Commission processes. Misplaced loyalty, fear of reprisals, stigmatizations and discrimination, as well as family honor, prevented both men and women from testifying before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. Even though systems were in place to protect their identities, without their stories being told, it would be difficult for them to engage in any of the reconciliation. The Truth, Reconciliation has found out that several female prison officers suffered significant sexual harassment from David Colley, former director of Gambia Prison Services, and other senior government officials. According to the Commission's report made public last week, when the female officers refused to comply with David Colley's sexual demands, they were punished by withholding their promotions and other privileges. A particular case that stands out happened in 2007 when David Colley handpicked 5 female prison officers to accompany them, newly appointed Interior Minister Ousmane Sonko. The trip was ostensibly a familiarization tour for the minister, but David Colley had an ulterior motive, which was to provide sex services for his superior, the minister and his colleagues. He handpicked 5 female prison officers from Mile 2 Central Prisons and Janjanbureh prisons, whom he thought could be compliant. The female officers went on the trip at a very short notice without being briefed and were not given any daily substances allowances. One of the witnesses, a protected witness, testified that upon arrival at Farafenni from Janjanbureh, David Colley assigned each of the women to spend the night in the same rooms as 3 high-level officials, including Ousmane Sonko and David Colley himself. Narrating her own personal experiences, personal witnesses told the commission that she was taken by David Colley to the room of one of the men for a chat. She recounted, "When I entered the room, he locked the door and asked me to undress, but I told him I did not come to the trip to have sex with any man, and I am a married woman." He led her out of the room and she sat outside crying. When the watchman of the guest house saw her in this state, he gave her a room to sleep in. In the morning, when David Colley realized that his plan had not worked, she became a target of abuse, was victimized throughout the trip for 3 days. From the testimonies, the evidences suggested that one of the female prison officers actually had sex with any of the men. They have support to each other. One of them was get to married and was given permission to go home to prepare for her wedding. One of who was already married got divorced after the trip, as her husband could not bear the rumors. On orders from David Colley on the 10th January 2007, they were charged and had their salaries deducted and immediately transferred from their respective posts. One of them, who continued to serve under David Colley, continued to be marginalized and was even demoted. They were denied leave and other privileges. These 5 female officers, according to the commission, who refused to submit to sexual violations by senior government officials during their trip, should be promoted to the levels of their colleagues who were not subjected to any form of harassment or unfair treatment by David Colley. In essence, they should not suffer any disadvantages by reasons of their refusal to submit to the unlawful orders and demands of David Colley. David Colley is also recommended for prosecution for tortures meted unto prisoners. Lawyers representing the first respondent in the election petition case led Sirif Mari Tembedu have launched a rambling attack before the Supreme Court challenging the legality of the election petition, highlighting when he considered as a fatal defeat in the petition. Tembedu submitted that there was no compliance with the Election Act and rules observed by the petitioner during the filing of the petition. He contended that both the petition and the amended one were not served on the first respondent, as well as a notice of security after 5 days of filling the petition, citing Rules 9 and 11 of the Election Act to back his argument. Barrister Tembedu finally urged the court to disregard the petition for not fulfilling the rules as stipulated in the Election Act, citing similar cases to strengthen his argument. Reacting to the application, lawyer for the petition, Bori Ture also referred the court to the prayers contained in the motion, which he read out to the court to support his submission. Lawyer Ture urged that failure of petitioner to file a notice of petition representation does not actually affect the petition, while referring the court to the Constitution to back his argument. According to the petitioner's lawyers, petition filed under the Election Act has time limit to be had and determined, urging that the application by the first respondent lacked merit and should be entirely dismissed by the court with a cost. Meanwhile, the second respondent, the Independent Electoral Commission, and the third respondent, the Attorney General, both associated themselves with the submission of the first respondent. The panel of 5 member judges, led by the Chief Justice, subsequently adjourned the matter to December 28 for full hearing. The Truth, Reconciliation and the Reparations Commission has recommended in its report 10 people, including the current Director General of State Intelligence Services, to be banned from holding public offices for 10 years. The following present the past NIA officials who directly and indirectly participated in the torture of detainees and other gross human rights violations and abuses must be banned from holding any public office with the government of the Gambia for a minimum period of 10 years. Usman Sow, the current Director General, be banned from holding public office with the government of the Gambia for a minimum period of 10 years for destruction and concealment of evidence at the NIA, the report said. The report also recommended Yankuba Baji, the former Director General of the NIA, and Sheikh Omar Jan to be prosecuted for their role in the torture of Solo Sandeng and Kowai at the agency. Yankuba Baji, Sheikh Omar Jan, and Tamba Misira be prosecuted for their role in the torture against Solo Sandeng and the April 14, 2016 United Democratic Party demonstrators at the NIA. Idrissa Job Alaji Moore be prosecuted for the torture against Lamin Kaba and others at the NIA. Lamin Dabo, the head of the Special Operations Unit, be prosecuted for his role in all the tortures committed by the special operators at the NIA. It said the Truth, Reconciliation and the Reparations Commissions also recommended 3 other members of the NIA Special Operations Unit be reprimanded for torture. Basiru C, Alassane Balde, and Jibril Kanyiba reprimanded for all the tortures they committed as members of the Special Operations Unit. Lieutenant Colonel Amadou Bojang, Ibrahima Sise, Babukar Trawale, Alpha Bojang, and Babukar Singate be reprimanded for torture and unlawful detention of Pa Alassane Jallow, Ibrahima Keita, and Musa Fofana, the commission said. The commission also recommended all NIA staff must be undergo adequate and comprehensive training to inculcate the culture of discipline and values that promote respect for fundamental human rights and freedoms and upholding the rule of law in a democratic system. Those were the stories, but before we take a leave of you, let's take a recap. The Truth, Reconciliation and the Reparations Commission recommends the revival of joking relationships to foster reconciliation. Female prison officers recommended for promotion after refusing sexual advances from David Colley government officials. Lawyer of first respondent urges court to dismiss petition. State Intelligence Services Director General among officials recommended for 10 years ban from holding public. Those were the stories of our today's newscast. Thank you for joining us, and I am your presenter, Maria Magellan. Do have a nice day.